Greetings, this is Ellen Clevenger-Furley coming to you today from the Deanna E. Gore Teaching and Research Kitchen at North Carolina State University. Today's topic are grain bowls. Grain bowls are all the rage. They're quick, they're easy, they're versatile, nutritious, and for me anyway, they are wonderful because they can all be made in advance. Today I'm going to talk about two different grain bowls, one for breakfast, one for lunch and dinner, and then we're going to talk about lots of options that you can expand and use to make your own grain bowls. All right, let's get started. My first grain bowl is actually a breakfast grain bowl. We're going to make lemon blueberry overnight oats. A few guidelines with making this, and then you can make 100 different versions of it. The basic components are a half a cup of oats. Now I'm using steel cut oats here. You can also use old-fashioned, or what my mother would have called rolled oats. But what you don't want to use are the individual packets, the little instant ones. If you use those, it kind of turns into paste because we're going to put this in the refrigerator for the whole overnight, and you want some texture left into it. So I've got half a cup of oats, half a cup of milk, and a quarter a cup of yogurt. Now, I recommend plain yogurt, not the fruited kind. The fruited kind many times has lots of added sugar, and the quote-unquote fruit is actually just jelly. It's much better nutritionally and also taste-wise to add your own fruit and your own flavorings. So this is the base. The base, this will make 2 servings. You can certainly double this, triple this, as many servings as you need for your family. So one of my favorite pie recipes in the summer is a blueberry pie or a blueberry crisp. And whenever I make that, I always add a little bit of fresh lemon because I love the combination of blueberry and lemon. So I've got some fresh blueberries here. They can also be frozen. You can use any frozen fruit you'd like. It doesn't have to be fresh, or use fresh and whatever's in season. I've got a little bit of lemon juice that I'm going to add. Just a touch of honey, and how much sweetener you add is totally up to you, or none, and that's fine too. And then I've got some lemon zest. And if you're not familiar with lemon zest, this is just the peel of the lemon that I've gotten off of it. Now I use a zester, and by doing that I'm just pulling it across the skin of the lemon, and I end up with a little bit of this zest, which adds wonderful pop of flavor. Now I know some people don't have a zester at home, so let me show you an alternative way of doing this. You're still going to start with a fresh lemon. You're just going to take your peeler and do a strip of the lemon peel. I can either do a peeler, or I'm going to use my knife here to get a strip. And then I'm going to put it on my cutting board, and I'm just going to cut it into thin strips. And then I'm going to cut those thin strips into little tiny pieces. And again, all we're doing is getting the wonderful pop of lemon from the lemon peel without adding tons and tons of extra water, which will make your yogurt kind of thin and watery. So I'm going to add that too. So this then can be covered and goes right into the refrigerator. No cooking, breakfast is ready, everything's ready to go. Or what I like to do, and for all those people who say, I don't have time for breakfast in the morning, go ahead and put it into individual containers so that you can grab it and walk out the door. Now I do a lot of canning, so I always have these extra canning jars around. I found these little plastic screw-on lids that are just in the grocery store. They were $4 for $1 or something. And you can certainly do that, or put it into small individual plastic containers. If you like a little bit of crunch, I recommend that you put it on just as you're walking out the door rather than mixing it in. If you mix it in and it sits overnight, it sort of loses its crunch. But for me, again, this is a lemon blueberry, and it's almost like a crisp. I'm going to put just a tablespoon or so of granola or nuts or any kind of cereal you might like, anything with a little bit of crunch on top of it. The other thing I always like to encourage is that this is a great way to get your kids involved. Come on, pull out some ingredients, pull out some things and let your kids make their own so that they know what their breakfast is going to be the next morning. Now, I know there are a lot of creative people out there, so let's think outside of the box. I know a lot of people think, oh, what are the flavors of yogurt? I want you to go way beyond that. So, same basic components. I've got the oatmeal, I've got half a cup of oatmeal, half a cup of milk, quarter of a cup of yogurt, and then it's up to you. So I would add in, I like peanut butter and banana. How about a tablespoon of peanut butter, chop up a banana and put it in there. And then again, maybe as I walk out the door, I'm going to put some pecans or some granola on top. Kind of like a banana bread. Those of you, if you've got an apple, chop up the apple, mix it in maybe with a little bit of honey. How about some cinnamon or apple pie spice, whatever you've got. Mix it in and you're going to have a wonderful, tasty breakfast. And I'm saying breakfast, but if you're looking for quick and easy after school snacks, these are wonderful as well. All right, so get your thinking caps on, use your creativity. Can't wait to hear what you all come up with. So that's our grain bowl number 1. Now we're going to go on to a chicken bulgur bowl, which can be lunch or dinner, whichever you prefer. I'm going to move over to this other side here, and we'll keep going. So the first thing I want to talk about is bulgur. Bulgur is probably a grain that you haven't heard of before. It is available in most stores. You may have to ask for it. It's usually in the aisle where the rice and the grains and that kind of thing are. It is a cracked wheat that has been parboiled. And what that means is it's been partially cooked. And that's actually the reason that it works out as a favorite for me as well. So if you take farro, if you take barley, if you take some brown rice, all of which can be the base of a grain bowl, and they're delicious, but they all take 40 to 50 minutes to cook in advance. Because this has been parboiled, it takes about 10 minutes. Again, anything that sort of gets me in the kitchen and done and out is all the better. It is a whole grain, so that it's an excellent source of fiber as well as many vitamins and minerals. It has about 8 grams of fiber per cup, so it really is a very good source. So this is what the base of our bowl is going to be. I actually start by making our dressing. So the dressing is going to be lemon juice and some garlic and some salt and pepper. And the reason I'm starting with this, and I've got my salt and pepper here, is we're going to use the dressing in 2 ways. One, when I cook the chicken, we're going to put it on the chicken and help flavor the chicken that's going to go on top of this grain bowl. And then I'm going to take the other half and I'm going to mix it with the bulgur. So your bulgur is a wonderful sort of nutty flavor, but if you want a little bit of punch, it usually needs a dressing or something else like that along with it. All I'm doing right now is just slowly whisking in my olive oil into the lemon juice, garlic, salt, and pepper. It's a very easy dressing. And we'll add lots and lots of flavor to the bulgur, but also to the chicken as I'm going to cook it. All right, and as always, what I like to do is take a taste, see where we are. I only put in about half of the salt and pepper. I always put in a little and then taste it and see if I need the rest. All right. Now, because I'm using this dressing in 2 different ways, one for the chicken and one for the bulgur, I want to divide it up. I've got my chicken here, and I don't want to dip into this bowl and use that for the chicken because the bulgur is going to be cooked, but the dressing will be tossed with it raw. So again, always concerned that you don't want cross-contamination with raw chicken or any products like that. So I'm just going to divide it up. All right. And we've got our 2 dressings here. I'm going to take my chicken out. Now I am using boneless, skinless chicken breasts. You can use whatever cut you would like, or whatever is on sale is always a good example. With your grain bowls, and with this one or any other one, you can also use fish, you can use pork, you can use chicken, or you certainly don't have to have meat toppings. You can use egg, you can use tofu, you can use other things, or just have a vegetable and grain bowl. I mean, that's going to be excellent as well. All right, so I've got this lovely lemon and garlic on top. I'm going to put a little bit of fresh pepper. And a little bit of salt on top. And then in the oven it goes. Now these aren't very thick chicken breasts, so they certainly won't take too long. I usually say about 20 minutes. But what I always recommend is that you check the temperatures with a kitchen thermometer so that you know exactly what the temperature is. Once they reach 165, which is the safe temperature, we're going to take them out of the oven, let them cool just a little bit so that when we'll then be able to slice them and use them on top of our bowl. So let me just put it in the oven. Or actually, I'll put it in this oven. Let's do that. In they go. All right. Now we go on to the rest of the part. And I've still got my dressing here separately, and I'm going to get my bulgur on to cook. I've got 2 cups of water and 1 cup of bulgur. In it goes. I'm going to bring that up to a boil. And as soon as it brings to a boil, I'm just going to let it simmer a little bit. And again, it only takes about 10 to 12 minutes. It's not meant to be mushy. It's a type of grain that still has a bite to it. It's a very nutty, nice flavor. I hope that you'll get a chance to take a try and see if you like it. So we're just going to let that simmer there. And I've got the rest of my separate dressing sitting here that I'm going to use in a little bit when we get ready to toss it all together. Now, this is a salad that we're making. Let me pull things aside so you can see a little bit here. And I've got some other ingredients. So I've got some tomatoes, some green onions, and some cucumber. It's a wonderful Mediterranean flavors that go along with the bulgur, and that's where this comes from. And then we're also going to have tons of parsley, and I'll talk about that in a second. Let me just talk a little bit about the cucumber here. So one of the things that I like about this recipe and many of your grain bowl recipes is that you can make them up and they're good in the refrigerator for at least 3 to 4 days. We don't want the bulgur to get watery, so it's a very nice salad. Think like a rice salad or a pasta salad. You don't want the dressing sort of all sitting at the bottom of the bowl and having it be watery. One of the ways that I can help with that is by taking the cucumber, and I'm going to cut it in half before, and that's what we've done here. You're going to take it inside, you'll see the seeds, and I'm going to just use a spoon and pull out all the seeds, and I don't know whether you can see on the camera, it's a little hard, I'll tell you it's here, but there's a lot of water in here. So what I want is all of the cucumber, wonderful cucumber, fresh cucumber flavor, but not all the wateriness of it. So after I've removed all of these, then I'm going to chop up the rest of the cucumber. And so we've already done that here. And if you can see, it's just the cucumber, just as I've done here, and that there's no seeds and it's not watery. This makes your salad really have a nice flavor and also last a lot longer. So I just have chunks of beautiful cucumber. All right. To take it another step to make sure that it doesn't get too watery, I'm going to take my tomatoes, and these tomatoes, and again, I've noted you can either use Roma tomatoes or cherry tomatoes, whatever's on sale, whatever looks good, that's just fine. I'm putting in my cucumbers And I'm putting in my green onions, which are spring onions, some people call them, since we're in the spring as well. And I'm just going to take a pinch of salt and salt this mixture. And I do that because the salt allows the ingredients to sort of give up some of their fluid. So I'm just going to mix this up a little bit, put a little bit of salt in there, and now we're just going to let it sit for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes while I work on the parsley. And after that's finished sitting, then I'm going to add in the parsley, and we'll finish everything up with once our bulgur's done. So our bulgur is just coming to a boil. I'm going to turn it down a little and let it keep simmering. Now, the big part of this salad is parsley. And I know here in the U.S., most people think of parsley as that green thing that's on the side of your plate that you sort of move out of the way so that you can get to, thank you, ma'am, can get to your dinner. But in the Mediterranean area, they use parsley a lot as the base for their salads, as their base for many of their dishes, and not just a little bit. There are two types of parsley that you're going to find here. One is what's called an Italian flat leaf parsley. The other is a curly parsley. Either one is fine. I would use them interchangeably. Some chefs feel that the flat leaf parsley has a little bolder flavor, but it's totally up to you. My suggestion is take a look at the bunches of parsley. Whichever one looks fresher, use that one. If it's on sale, use that one. All those things are fine. The other thing that I have sitting here is, if you've never tried it, growing parsley, and the other optional ingredient that's in this recipe is mint. Fresh mint and parsley are both very easy to grow. Another great thing to do with kids. Both of them grow very well in the ground or in a container just like this. So, one packet of seeds will make a lot of containers of parsley, and it's fun to watch it grow throughout the summer. But either way that works for you. Now, what we're looking for, both parsleys have already been rinsed and dried. And so I'm looking for the head. Now, a lot of people will say that you want to sit and pull each individual one, and that's great if you're using a quarter cup. When I'm using 2 cups, what I'm looking to do is a slightly faster method. All right, I'm just going to sort of put them all together so that the heads are at the top, and I'm going to take my knife and just cut them off. All right. So what I've now got is a lovely pile here of just the parsleys. I'm going to turn my bulgur down a little. Do the same thing with the flat leaf. And as you can see, I'm going to use both together. So while I'm working on this, let me talk a little bit about parsley and why the Mediterranean is so in love with it, not only for the flavor. If you've never sort of picked up and munched actually on a piece of parsley, the Mediterraneans feel that it's a breath freshener. It sort of has a bright citrus, fresh taste. And I usually say lettuce, something like that. That's what they're using it as. Think of it in that kind of context, and that will help. It's very low calorie, has about 20 calories per cup. So again, when you're adding all of this, you're certainly not adding calories, you're adding lots of greens and delicious flavor, but also nutrition, high in ADE nutrients. Now, when we're going to use it with the bulgur, I want it to be chopped. And I've got some that I've chopped here in advance. You can see, you can certainly do that. Once chopped, it will stay in the refrigerator. I put a damp little towel on top just so that it doesn't dry out or anything. If you have a food processor, you can certainly do that. If not, time to practice knife skills. We're going to do chopping. I have a chef's knife, fingers lightly on top of the point, and we're just going to go back and forth over it until it's into small pieces. Now, some of this is your choice in terms of how finely you liked the parsley chopped. in the Mediterranean, they chop it fairly fine, as I have here, but it doesn't have to be. And again, I'm using both types together. Whatever looks freshest, that's what you're looking for. My bulgur is over there simmering. And in a second, I'm going to drain that. And when I drain that, I'm going to mix it with the rest of the dressing that I had left. Again, separating it out so that you don't have the dressing that was on the chicken. And I'm going to toss it with the bulgur while it's warm. And you want to do that because it really, really absorbs more of the dressing if you do it while it's warm. All right, I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to add that to my bowl here. And we're going to be beautiful. All right, I think my bulgur should be done. It looks, my husband said it looks like a cooked cereal, and I think that's probably a pretty good description of it. See, there's not too much water left. It's absorbed a lot of it, but again, because it's parboiled, it cooks so much faster. So I'm going to go back here and just drain it. All right. And then I will just have a, if I'll just grab a big bowl so that I can toss this with the rest of the dressing. Just a big bowl, and I think we'll be set. So, components that we have here. I've got my cooked bulgur. I've got the dressing that I'm going to add as soon as we get a bowl. I've got parsley, and then I've got this mixture here, which is, and I don't know whether we can see, there's some liquid sort of at the bottom of the bowl here, and I'm going to, when I add this, strain it. I'm just going to pop this all in here and leave that liquid behind. Perfect. All right. Let me stop for a second here. Take the bulgur. Toss, and you can decide how much of this dressing you like. I like a big, bold lemon and garlic flavor, but that's certainly your decision. All right. I'm just going to put that aside. And as always, how I tell how much? Taste. And you can sort of say, with a clean spoon, of course, no double dipping. That's good. I don't think I need any more. So I am taking and draining the liquid here. I'm adding in the tomatoes, the green onions, and the cucumber. Then I'm going to toss in the parsley. The exact amount of parsley that you use is, you know, I think in the recipe I said 1.5 to 2 cups. That's great. It is to be at least equal amounts of parsley to bulgur. So again, parsley is not a garnish. Parsley is the main ingredient, basically. So your salad's going to look green. It is a green grain salad. This is a wonderful salad to make anytime, but of course it's also even better in the summer when you've got wonderful tomatoes and cucumbers and that kind of thing. All right. Again, clean spoon, final taste. That's good. I'm going to add in the rest of that beautiful parsley for all of that nutrition and all of that color. So this then will be divided, I'm going to come over on the other side here, into 6 bowls. And I'm just going to do one here. We're going to get our chicken out. Now, we're doing this into a pretty bowl so that you could serve for dinner. This can be served warm, can be served, or you can serve it cold, and that's fine as well, so it can be made in advance. I am going to take my lovely chicken here, check the temperatures, and we are good to go. Let me check a couple of those. Yeah, good to go. All right. I am going to then take a piece of chicken, and I have 6 pieces here. I believe in the recipe I said that you could either do 6 small chicken breasts like this, or you could do 3 larger and cut them in half, whatever way you like. Now, you can just put it on the salad like this. What I'm going to do is just slice it up, make it a little bit easier for people to serve themselves and enjoy this. So if it's served right now, it'll be warm. The chicken's nice and warm. Even the salad's still a little bit warmer. But the other way that what makes bowls so popular is that they can also be made in advance, and that would be what I would do. Put it into a bowl like this, cover it with wrap, whatever you might like, or how about lunch tomorrow? And therefore you're going to put it in a plastic container or something like that, cover it over, lunch is ready. It is equally as good warm like this as it is chilled. And again, these will keep in your refrigerator for up to 4 days if they last that long. Hopefully they'll be so good they won't last that long. Before I leave, I want to give one other thought. So I've now gotten you to go and purchase bulgur. And you've made one recipe, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. But what else do you do with this bag of bulgur? I know many people will not have used it. So I wanted to give you some other ideas. So when I started out with the breakfast overnight oats recipe, instead of oats, use bulgur. So same exact recipe, half a cup of bulgur, half a cup of milk, quarter cup of yogurt, and then whatever seasonings, spices, sweeteners, anything that you would like, fruits on top of it. It's very nice. Bulgur is a little bit more of a mouth bite, a little chewier. I actually enjoy it very much than is oatmeal. It will still sort of be there and hold up quite well. The second one is also to make it a hot cereal, just the way we cooked it right here. You're going to put it into a pot, 2 cups of water, 1 cup of bulgur, cooks in about 10 minutes. If there's a lot of water left, you can drain it, and then eat it just the way you would hot oatmeal. So I might put a little bit of milk on it. You can certainly use any other type of milk or non-dairy product that you'd like. I put some bananas, some pecans, however you would like to fix it up and eat it that way. The other way is a pilaf. Many people have made a rice pilaf. You start in a pan by sauteing some onions and some carrots and maybe a little celery. Mix in the rice, and in this case we're going to use bulgur. And then you're going to add twice the volume of liquid as bulgur that you added. Put the lid on and put it in the oven, 350 for about a half an hour until the bulgur is tender. So it's just like a side dish, like a rice, only again, this is far more nutritious, far higher in fiber, has its own natural, nutty, almost sweet flavor. So I hope you'll give bulgur a try. I wanted to introduce you to a new and different grain as well as the wonderful grain bowls. So in conclusion, I hope that you can see that grain bowls are a wonderful and versatile meal that you can have for lunch or dinner or breakfast, whichever one works, or even snacks, and that you'll give it some thought and think about your own creative ideas in making this happen for you. So as always, I wish you good health and great food. Have a nice day.